So how are we doing?
Great.
Better than ever. It's my husband. So, welcome everybody. We're Ramadan. Who does not know what Ramadan is? Don't be shy. You don't know what it is?
No, I'm just raising my hand so someone will raise their hand.
I don't know.
Yeah, you can't raise your hand. Again, that's my husband.
I'll support her.
I'll support her. This is what happens when you come to interfaith group. Everybody knows what everything is. And that's beautiful, right? Because we know what's going on, and then we have this reverence and respect for it. And for those that are doing the work and trying to make that happen in their lives. So Ramadan is one of the 5 pillars in Islam, and it's the holy month. The month is required of fasting for everybody. And this year, it happens to coincide with the 40 days of Lent within the Christian tradition. So I always love it when there's this melding, like we love to have Passover with Easter, and that's gonna coincide. Also, you know, we actually had Hanukkah on Christmas, right? So it's like all these, and the energies, worlds are colliding, but there is a reason for it, right? We're all coming together to enrich and help each other. Not to take away from each other, not to water down from each other, but to help each other to step in more deeply into what calls to each and every one of us. So when I was thinking about songs for this service, the other side came up that Anne Murray, I guess, is the one I know who had sang that song. Did she write it? I couldn't find who wrote it, but anyway. So the other side of doubt is faith, and the other side of pain lies strength. And it's, for me, in my life, I have found that that is so true. And in all the spiritual traditions, that's what they tell us, right? They tell us that if we put in the work, then we'll get to the other side. Our human tendency is, tell me what's on the other side first. Is it really worth it? Should I really put that much into it, right? That's that whole thing that we come up with in our humanness. So the challenge in spirituality and spiritual growth is to take that time and to go deeper. Go deeper. I wanted to read to you, I'm going to do for Lent as a community. Any members that would like to do it, I was asking people if they wanted to get the book of Richard Rohr. He's a Franciscan, Wondrous Encounters. And we would do that, and after services each week on Saturday, we would go through part of the book that we did that week. So I wanted to read some of the introduction of that book for you guys and talk a little bit about that, and why I put that together, and why that goes together for me so much with Ramadan. He says, there are 2 moments that matter. One is when you know that your one and only life is absolutely valuable and alive. The other is when you know your life, as presently lived, is entirely pointless and empty. You need both of them to keep you going in the right direction. Lent is about both, and I would argue that Ramadan is about both. The first such moment gives you energy and joy by connecting you with the ultimate source and ground. The second gives you limits and boundaries and a proper humility, so you keep seeking the source and ground, and not just your small self. Now that's a huge challenge, right? We don't like to look at those things, or that's why the idea of Ramadan and the idea of Lent and the idea of so many traditions is to take that time. The Jains are always doing it, fasting for, I think there's not one Jain holiday where it's an overindulgence of anything, right? It's always religious holiday fast. So it's like, because go inside and make that connection on a deeper, purer, more intense way, so that you can get to the other side, because there are going to be rivers to cross, there's going to be mountains to climb, there's going to be things that happen for each and every one of us in life, and we need to continue to keep walking. Just keep walking. But I need to have the equipment, the depth, in order to be able to do that. So they tell us things like in the Quran, in our first reading, they tell us like Allah is closer than the vein of our neck, closer than this vein, that this source, this presence that wants to be with us is there, pulsating. But we don't even feel that. We don't even pay attention to our own heartbeat. It's here, working hard for us. Put your hand on your heart right now. Feel it. It's working hard for you. Pulsating. There is love, nurturing, sustenance, being pumped into every part of your being. We take it for granted. We don't take the time to think about that. And to understand that there are some people right now, they're listening to every last beat of that heart. And others around them who are sitting with them, knowing that that beat won't come again. There are those waiting for a heart to replace this heart. So much goes on in life. There's a depth, there's a richness that we are called to live. But we can't do it in the busyness of life. We need to take these times out and to look at our connection with the divine. Do we know that it knows everything? I was told as a little child that God knows everything, sees all, knows all. But as a little kid, you always have those things where you got away with something. And you said, God didn't see that. I guess they were wrong. And so we upped the ante as we grew. You don't see this. You don't see that. That doesn't matter. You don't pay attention when I look in the mirror and say, not good enough. Or struggle with my body, is what it's doing or not doing. Times of Ramadan are that time of reflection. It's a time of looking for forgiveness. And there's a question that is asked mostly of Sufis about Ramadan, and that is, do you participate in Ramadan with Allah or for Allah? If you do it for Allah, you are wanting something back, right? When I do it for you, when I do it with you, we become partners. We become partners. When you come to a place like this where you're told that your spiritual journey matters, that your connection to the divine is unique in itself, but needs to be fostered, needs to be challenged, needs to be examined as to our intention. Is it small self? Well, where is my focus? How does this look? Did you hear my great idea? Aren't I so wonderful? That's why he said we want that emptiness. We want that emptiness because it brings us to a place of humility. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, had the idea given to him about Ramadan in the Quran. It's only mentioned once in the Quran, but yet it's so important. A pillar to hold it up. But is this time of real going in and trusting. Now, Muhammad, peace be upon him, did not even think he was worthy. Moses did not think he was worthy. A burning bush. We all say, I want that spiritual awakening. I want that flash of light. I want to have that awakening. There's Moses, a burning bush right in front of him. You go, free my people. And he says, I'm not the guy. I began to list everything that's wrong with him. I stutter. They're mad at me already. Comes up with all the reasons, all the excuses. But this month, and even Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, he didn't know how to read and write. But the angel Gabriel appeared to him and said, and you know what he did? He fought him. That's how much he resisted it. He fought it. These are all stories of us. These are all stories of what we do in our lives. And we are asked to move beyond that, to take on the challenge and say yes to it. To understand that I know those moments of catching that sunrise or sunset. We live in a beautiful area. We're so blessed around here. We can see it and embrace it and all the gifts that we have in our lives. But we also have those times of emptiness, and we need them as well. And if we haven't had enough of them, we need to empty ourselves out to find that humility again. Because if we don't do it, believe me, life is going to do it for us. In a way where it will catch us off guard. I had a call this week again from Newsday. They want me to do that, Ask the Clergy again. Because they had a question about light. And they go, oh, he's gathering with light. It's like nothing to do with any of it. But it's just whimsical. And very sincere, and, was wonderful that he remembered that it was the anniversary of son Brian's death. And he remembered and he said, I just want to acknowledge you again, that I pray for you. Isn't that beautiful thing for people who don't realize it? Sending a prayer for you. And then he said, because I know other clergy that happened to, and their faith did not carry them through. And that's sad. That was sad to me. Because I always remember that you said, I don't know how people who don't have faith could get through something like this. Right? So, put in the time. Build your faith. On the other side of doubt, on the other side of your pain, can be this faith. This connection, this relationship with the divine. Rumi tells us these wondrous things about this emptiness, the sweetness of it. I never knew grief could be so sweet. Intense, but sweet. We don't know until we put ourselves through it. And the rewards will go down into only the love of God. It'll be there. It'll be the one true thing that holds us, that carries us, that gives us that perfect peace, that safety. It will transport you into a state of mind that nothing can threaten, nothing can disturb, and where nothing can intrude upon the eternal claim of the Son of God. My friends, you are worthy of that. Put in the effort and make it so.